Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our tour of an old abandoned Jurassic World park here on Isla Nublar. You've all experienced the new Jurassic World over on the mainland, but before that there were parks on the islands which had to unfortunately be abandoned due to various reasons we'll cover shortly. I would like to remind everyone that flash photography is permitted, but please do keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, or you may lose them to a dinosaur. Now, our pilot has assured me that this is possible. We're going to try to give you guys a proper Jurassic World introduction by flying through the gates. I have no idea if this works. We may all die right now. Oh, he's given up at the last minute. He's a bit of a coward. So today we're going to fly around this old abandoned park. I'm going to point out some of the sights, and you guys in the helicopter, cough cough, can hopefully experience them for yourselves. So here we are approaching Main Street. Now you'll notice the monorail for the entrance still runs. We may catch a glimpse. Yes, you can appear it if you look at the left hand side of the helicopter. You can see the monorail approaching. That's because the park still has a little bit of power. There is a backup power source based on the geothermal fence, which of course is based on Mount Sibo, which is behind us. We've already toured that earlier in the program. So the monorail and a few other things are still running, but by and large the park is out of power. That means that dinosaurs have had their opportunity to escape. If you look outside the left hand side of your helicopter, however, well, we'll swip it around. Swip it is now a word. To the right you'll see that the first monorail station in the park is actually taking some damage. This is something we're going to see quite a lot. Storms have ravaged Isla Nublar in the years since the park was closed, and unfortunately it does mean some of the buildings are a little bit injured. But we're going to take our very first look at our very first dinosaur here. This is Moto. She was a popular, very popular dinosaur in the park. Please ignore the rifle, pretend it's a pair of binoculars. She was a very popular dinosaur in the park when it first opened. We're going to go down a little bit. Please be careful here though, folks. There are larger and more dangerous dinosaurs abound than our lovely Brachiosaurus. But she is a gorgeous creature, the largest dinosaur in the park. And she does have some Brachiosaurus friends living nearby, but I don't see any quite yet. Hopefully I'll be able to show you those as well. But you can see here the storm damage that has hit our Main Street. A lot of the buildings are smoking and still firing to this day. It's a shame, but we here at InGen are hoping that one day we'll be able to redeem some of this island and maybe turn it into a park once more. What do you think of that, Moto? Moto's very excited about the idea. Now, folks, if we move forward just a little bit, if you look at the front side of the helicopter, over to the right, you'll see the Troodon exhibit. It seems that they are still in that exhibit. The walls have unfortunately broken over time, and I've clicked the wrong button. But as you can see on the right hand side, the fences have faded, but the Troodons are still hanging around in their exhibit. Now that's because the feeders in Jurassic World are automatic. They have a large stock of frozen meat that is automatically heated up and given to them, again using that backup power supply. It won't last forever. There will come a time where these dinosaurs are going to have to scavenge on other dinosaurs, and we're a little hopeful they'll build their own ecosystem up here. But for now, they will return to their exhibit and be able to feed on some delicious cow. And you see there we have a lovely collection of different Troodons, some of them even going to sleep. They don't really care about the helicopter. You may remember, okay, it's been a while now since the park was abandoned, but these were dinosaurs bred and raised in captivity. They are used to the noise of helicopters and machinery and such. It doesn't really bother them at all. Now, the Troodons, they've got a jump on them, I'll tell you that much, folks. But we are going to drop down a little bit closer to see if we can get you lovely folks a slightly better view. Please do be careful and don't stick your hands outside of the vehicle, because we've lost several people like that in the past. There we go, much better view. Our lovely collection of Troodons, all named. Some of those names have been lost to memory, unfortunately, but there's a data log on our website you can go on. You'll be able to check the names of all of these lovely dinosaurs. This is the largest collection of dinosaurs we have in the entire park, the Troodon, but we do have some other, the herbivores in particular, where there's a lot of them. By the looks of it, this is more than I expected, I must say. Is there a chance the dinosaurs have learned to breed in our absence? That's an interesting question. We'll have to come to that later. Good question, Jimmy. Always Jimmy with the questions. You can see here the Troodons are actually all moving simultaneously out of the exhibit. There's like this mass migration going on here right now, moving towards one of the gaps behind what was a viewing gallery. They've all left the food and the watering hole. Only 3 have remained. Now that's because the Troodons, like several of the dinosaurs we have here in Jurassic World, follow an alpha dinosaur system. And though one of these dinosaurs will be in the lead, and when that dinosaur leaves, potentially this one right here, this grey one at the front, the other dinosaurs will follow. It's very interesting to observe. Now, if we move forward a little bit past our lovely innovation centre, undamaged by the storm, blows up beautifully at night, it's still running on the backup power, it's marvellous. We have one of our larger gyrosphere exhibits right here, seemingly still okay in the storm as well. The gyrospheres may even be working. Now, we do have yet more Brachiosauruses, the Motomotos, I should say, Motomoto's friends, and the feeders, again, you can see they're still pumping away some delicious food. But we also have the very first ceratopsids in our park, so we're going to drop down a little bit closer. See if we can get you guys a view of the Torosaurus. There we go. We've got a few different colours of our lovely Torosauruses as well. I'm going to get down a little bit closer. The Torosauruses may be herbivorous, don't fret too much, folks, but they are territorial defensive creatures, and if need be, they will attack. So we need to be a little bit careful here, but there we go. We can get a lovely view of one of my personal favourite Torosaurus varieties we have here in this park. This was once, oh, we can see we've got another guy down there, we'll go check him out in a moment. This was once a gyrosphere track. Of course, nobody's using the gyrosphere anymore, and it isn't an automated process. People did have to get on, and then we would set it off, just like a roller coaster. And if the roller coaster went off automatically with no one controlling it, many people would die. So we do have someone else in this park. If we shift over unfortunately we lost this part of the monorail due to the storm. If we just swing around this and drop back down, you'll see we have yet more little critters to look at. I say little, they're freaking chumpy. But we have more critters. We've got some Chunkingosauruses, a Chinese stegosaurid. So named because it came from the Chungking region, which is basically how every single dinosaur in the world is named. People are not inventive. You're not a Chunking, what are you? You're Chunking? You are a Chunking, yes. Chunkings are a very interesting creature in that they're very odd. And there's a goat over there, the rare Goatosaurus, if any of you managed to catch a glimpse of that. Hope you got it on your cameras. We're going to move on from the Chunkings for now. We're going to swing back over. Many, many goats. Very exciting for all you goat fans out there. And we're going to swing back over the... We're going to go back down Main Street, folks. I'm not in control, I'm just a tour guide. The pilot does whatever the hell the pilot wants. Shouldn't say that on a tour, there's children abound. Over to the left, you'll see our airport. Now, unfortunately, the airport was particularly ravaged by the storms. You'll see here several of our towers and stuff have been taken out by storm damage and indeed dinosaur damage over time. Even the track itself, the landing strip, has been damaged and weathered away. Nature has begun to reclaim this park. We are hopeful we can salvage it. We are hopeful we can salvage it. But it's going to take a lot of hard work. Now, I've heard rumours, folks, of dinosaurs living in these parts, and yes, we have our very first large carnivore. We're going to be very careful on this descent here. But we can see a Suchomimus wandering around. Now you'll see this Suchomimus is perfectly camouflaged to blend in this kind of environment. Very useful. If an ecosystem is going to develop, the Suchomimus will be one of the tougher dinosaurs. Already we've lost it within the brush swamplands over here. Pilot, what are you doing, son? Be careful, lad, be careful. So we will swing past the airport in a lovely sweeping motion, and we're going to head towards what was once a petting zoo, but it appears we have a new guest in our petting zoo, ladies and gentlemen. There is a Tyrannosaurus Rex smack bang in the middle of it. Now, this is very interesting because the T-Rex once lived at the far reaches of the park, and we just saw there a Mutaborosaurus moving past, a beautifully skinned one at that. We're going to try to move in a little closer on the T-Rex. I really must stress to keep your arms and legs and all other appendages, whatever you may have or want to stretch out, inside the vehicle at this point in time. This is a very dangerous thing we're doing here. Thank God you all signed your insurance forms. There is our Tyrannosaurus Rex, Roberta, stomping off into the forest. I have an ex-girlfriend called Roberta. Hopefully she doesn't see this video. I've named a giant prehistoric beast after her. That's not relevant, folks. Anyways, there's Roberta. She's going past the old fast food place. This was a very popular place for the children. And just like all over the modern world today, we like to stuff our children with as much terrible food as humanly possible. I think we can safely assume this fast food restaurant has a nice store of food, some cheap meats somewhere within its vicinity, and maybe that is what Roberta is hunting out right now. But as I say, folks, as I say in my fake tour guide voice, this area was once a petting zoo slash sort of area. We kept a lot of our lovely peaceful little herbivores in this area right over here. We kept the Troodons have actually made it over here, potentially to begin feasting on some of those dinosaurs. But we have a Spinosaurus over there, we've got some sticky Molochs over there, we got... Yes, the Troodons really have begun to take over this park. It's very interesting to see. The Gallimimuses, of course, in the area as well. There should be a few more dinosaurs. We'll hang around just for a moment, folks, and see if we can spot any more of our nicer dinosaurs. Things are going to get a little hairy from this point out. Not literally, dinosaurs probably weren't that hairy. It'd be weird if they were. Yes, the Mutaborosaurus, a beautiful skin, one of my personal favourites, ladies and gentlemen. When I used to visit this park a few years ago before the catastrophe, we'll talk about that in a moment, the Mutaborosaurus was absolutely one of my favourites. I'm going to get down just a little closer. It's really important we don't scare the dinosaurs too much. They may be used to the sounds, but the distance of the helicopter and the air it makes is a little disturbing for some of these guys. And you can see here the Mutaborosaurus do seem to be reacting, although that could be because of the giant T-Rex also in the vicinity, and the plethora of Troodons. We're going to move on, folks. We've only got one more part of this part of the park to explore, and that is the hotel, the herbivore hotel section. This was our piece de resistance in terms of our hospitality. Unfortunately, nature has very much taken it back, and we've even lost one of the hotels completely to storm damage, as you can see. But you could chill in one of these hotels, get yourself a nice suite at the top, look outside your bedroom window, and look upon a lovely large herbivore exhibit. Now, it may have cleared out. You'll see here we've lost the fence at the back end of this herbivore exhibit. Let's see if we get our binoculars out, slash rifle, pretend it's binoculars, if we can see any dinosaurs at all still living within our herbivorous exhibit. I don't believe we can, folks. It seems they've decided to move out into the rest of the park. We'll have to keep an eye out to see if we can see any of them later on. So that brings us to... oh, no, that's a tree. That brings us to the middle of the park, folks. The disaster that took Jurassic World away from us. That momentous occasion a few years ago. Oh, no, ladies and gentlemen, our pilot has spotted something. He's flying towards the end of the chasm. A dinosaur has just disappeared into the woodland. The best dinosaur in the world. I believe that was a Spinosaurus, folks. We only caught a little glimpse of it before it's disappeared back into the woodland. There it is, folks. It has reappeared. A Spinosaurus. Oh, I've clicked the wrong button. This is hard work. A Spinosaurus and a goat. Yes, a lovely classic combination over there. This was my personal favourite dinosaur. I'm a big fan of the chubby little horny so-and-so, for reasons I think are fairly easy to understand. Oh, pilot's getting a little risky here, boys and girls. Please be very careful. The Spinosaurus may look adorable, but he won't hesitate to charge if absolutely need be. Yes, as the Polycanthropuses also run off into the woodland together. Now you may be wondering, why in this park without restriction do the dinosaurs not just leave? Why do they not just head out into the woodland? Well, there's more food here. This is the world they know, and outside we are ringed by mountains, as you can see, folks. This is not a easy habitat for the dinosaurs to live in. The park is their home at the end of the day. So the chasm, yes, unfortunately we had a tectonic shift a few years ago. The two tectonic plates slammed into one another and then withdrew from the impact. That caused some problems later on in the park that we'll see, where ridges formed and higher points formed and teared our gates asunder. But here in the middle it meant the park split. Paths and fences were destroyed, and unfortunately that meant dinosaur escapes and of course 5,267.4 casualties. A small price to pay, yes, but still. We're going to move on to the second half of the park now. We've got a small exhibit over here with what looks to be our hybrid facility, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, one of the crown jewels of the park, I think you'll all admit. If we just spin around here, yes, Pilot is developing his skills very nicely. You'll see the Stegoceratops, one of the weirder dinosaurs in our park, a Stegosaurus / Triceratops hybrid. A dinosaur many people wondered why did we make it in the first place, and we could never come up with a good reason. We're going to go in for a slightly closer look. We do have some other hybrids in the area, but you'll see it's a big, tough old boy, isn't it? It's very... oh, he's on the move. He's on the move. We're not going to shoot him today because it's a pair of binoculars. We should have another hybrid within this facility. Yes, he's lurking over there within the forest. You'll see the hybrids have, by the looks of it, not managed to break through their fence yet. There is a chance they are simply happy within their environment. But over there we have the Ankylodocus, otherwise known as the Dorkodocus, because it's dorky as balls. I shouldn't say that, I'm a tour guide. I do love the patterning on this Ankylodocus. It's very cute, but the dinosaur itself looks derpy as all hell. It's a mix of a Diplodocus and an Ankylosaurus. It looks like neither. Now, folks, we're in for a treat here. Feeding Indominus Rex. Yes, we have an Indominus Rex in the park. The Indominus Rex, I'm sure you all heard so much about before the park was abandoned. One of the prouder dinosaurs in our facility. Oh, and he does not seem best pleased about our presence. He's just had some food. And again, another dinosaur that seems content with his environment. But the food will one day... oh boy, the food will one day run out, and I'm going to stop putting that bloody voice on. The food will one day run out and the Indominus Rex may not stay in the same place for too much longer. The rest of the park should be very worried because this is a dinosaur more than capable of taking out the rest of the critters. We can hear some banging, folks. Now, you folks at home are in for a treat. I've said folks far too many times. You guys at home are in for a treat. All you lovely people in the helicopter is what I mean. This part of the park you're about to see was traditionally not allowed to the guests, but due to the abandoned nature of this park, and of course the full disclosure agreements have already come out in court, we're going to take a look into the hybrid facility, the secret portion of the hybrid facility. Now this is where we bred dinosaurs that were not ready to be seen by the public, including our lovely camouflaged Indominus Rex right there. And yes, they're an Indoraptor, ladies and gentlemen, crawling in to the Indominus Rex exhibit. I don't think it can get past the second level of fence we have here, but it's just disappeared behind the concrete. We'll see if we can get a little bit closer. These are not dinosaurs we want to play around with. These are dangerous, dangerous creatures. You can see how it stalks, almost like an alien in its surroundings, just learning. Oh, just learning its environment. Ignore that bottle of Red Bull I dropped out. That's what it was. It wasn't a dart, it was Red Bull. The Indoraptor was, of course, trained for ulterior purposes, ones that we're not allowed to talk about, or InGen will be disappointed with me. We did actually breed 2 of them. You can see another one here feeding with this lovely green patterning. The colours we gave the Indoraptor designated their functions. Some were for different style military operations, all in the name of the good old US of A, ladies and gentlemen, America! Look, everyone else is going to breed dinosaurs for military, right? We may as well bloody well do it first. You hear me, folks? If this was real, everyone would be cheering right now and like going, USA, USA, USA. The tour is nearly over, folks. We're going to sweep back over that. Yes, we have a special treat here. Now, usually residing over near the airport that we saw earlier, this is Cooper, our Spinosaurus. We're going to zoom in just a little bit more, and he's currently sleeping. It's rare to see him sleeping out here in the open like this, but Cooper is having a little bit of a nap. Once one of the most feared dinosaurs in the whole park, now with the escaped Indoraptors and Indominus Rexes and Tyrannosaurus Rexes, Cooper may find himself relegated to a B-tier carnivore. We're unsure how much longer he will survive in such a competitive environment. We're really hoping to get our InGen teams in here soon and rescue these dinosaurs, bring them to the mainland so you guys can all enjoy them when you get back to the good old US of A as well. And of course, very soon oh, Cooper. Of course, very soon in North Korea as well, when Jurassic Park North Korea opens very soon. Well said, Cooper. Only one little section to show you lovely folks, and then we're going to head off home before the pilot goes crazy and we all die. You can see here we're going to zoom past our really just bad form monorail there, really not looking good at all. Over here it was T-Rex Hill. This was for the posher members of our constituency, I shall say. We have a lovely hotel up here and a very nice high-end restaurant, and as you emerged from the restaurant you could look out over what was once a Tyrannosaurus Rex exhibit, but you can see how the chasm and this flooding that resulted from the chasm has torn the exhibit asunder. We did try to build a fence to temporarily halt the spreading of the more dangerous dinosaurs, but unfortunately that too was lost to time. Ladies and gentlemen, on my helicopter tour, thank you so much for joining me. That is all of our abandoned park. It's been a hell of a pleasure exploring it with you and creating it over the last God knows how many episodes. I would like to thank you all very much for joining me. If you like this helicopter tour, please subscribe to the helicopters for more helicopters and give the helicopter a thumbs up. It's all falling apart at the end. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye. Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to help support me a little bit more, you can do so at patreon.com/BestInSlot. There's a link in the description down below. Every little really does help in times like these, but it's not at all expected, and by just watching the video you've already helped me out massively, and it makes you a pretty cool person, so well done you. Thanks for joining me either way, I'll see you next time.